in these discussions or negotiations.
Excuse me for laughing.
And in effect get
hints
and tips.
But that is a deliberate policy of the government in this country at the time to lower wages of working people right across the spectrum.
Good job I wore my corset, because I think my sides would have split. Now let's watch the epic Mick Whelan, and as an added bonus, Mick Lynch really embarrass Tory MP Chris Loder at the Transport Committee meeting on the 11th of January 2023. Yes, I know it's old, but we all know the reason why. But they were discussing the rail strikes at the time, where Chris Loder seemed to get quite conspiratorial first with Mick Whelan, General Secretary of ASLEF.
Mick, can you just tell us, are you a member of the Labour Party's Executive Committee?
I
am. Could you also confirm if you are chairman of the Labour Party group of affiliated trade unions, otherwise known as TULO?
It's my proud privilege to be the chair of the Labour affiliated trade unions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you receive any direction from the Labour Party in these discussions or negotiations?
Excuse me for laughing. Unfortunately, no. I've had no discussions with anybody. We have briefed people in the shadow cabinet on our position as a trade union, but there has been no direct discussion or policy in relation to this dispute coming from the leadership of the Labour Party. And I think it's a matter of public record, my view on MPs and others attending picket lines.
Thank you very much.
Which is in direct opposition to my leader at this moment in time.
Yeah, thank you. I understand that the RMT has attended 4 meetings with the department and or the minister. Could you just tell us how many meetings you've attended, please?
With which minister? I've had 3 in a month.
Well, the minister, one of the ministers for transport. How many meetings have you had with the department for transport?
In recent times, never met Mr. Shapps in person. Dealt with him. I'm trying to work it out for you. Sorry, bear with me. I've never met Mr. Shapps in person. Had one meet and greet with Anne-Marie Trevelyan, and unfortunately wasn't there very long. Met Mr. Harper for the first time once before Christmas, and I've met Mr. Merriman, the Rail Minister, twice. Once with Mr. Harper before Christmas, and once to the meeting I alluded to earlier this Monday.
Okay, so you've met DFT twice.
I haven't met the DFT at all.
Ministers of the DFT.
I've met the ministers for... The question was, had I met the DFT? I have not met the DFT in any capacity. Okay. There have been members of the DFT writing down every word I say when I go into these meetings with the ministers, but they haven't spoken, they haven't contributed, they haven't asked any questions, and we haven't had any dialogue with them, if that's your question.
Yeah, thank you.
There were no stunt doubles that was harmed or injured in the following clip. Well, after that, both Chris Loder and Mick Whelan seemed to go back and forth about why ASLEF had rejected a 19% pay rise, where Mick Whelan said that they hadn't at all, and all that nonsense, and having any disagreements with freight operators. Then Loder then turned to Frank Ward, Interim General Secretary of TSSA, and seemed to be a bit miffed that some plebs could be earning as much as £190,000. Perish the thought, eh? If you want to watch or read the transcript, it's all in the description box below. But then our conspiracy theorist Chris Loder turned his attention to Mick Whelan again.
Mick Whelan, can I just come back to one final question? In October last year, we understand it that the General Secretaries of a number of trade unions, as well as members of the Shadow Cabinet, attended a fully funded visit by the TUC to go to Spain to meet your counterparts there to discuss the sorts of issues you face and in effect get hints and tips. Would you just confirm for us whether or not you joined that visit or any representative of ASLEF joined that visit?
No representative of ASLEF was on that visit.
Thank you very much.
Yes, he does sound a little tinfoil hatty, doesn't he? Mentally. Well, he turned his attention to the doyen of making Tories look pant-wettingly stupid, RMT General Secretary Mick Lynch, and let's just say he didn't mince his words.
I understand on the 6th of December an increasing number of groups of members of the RMT broke the strike. Could you just tell us what percentage of members did actually break the strike on those days?
We don't have a report of any increase in people breaking the strike. We know that, as you've just heard, from the TSSA that the managers and Unite and the white collar and supervisory staff have gone back to work, so they're not on strike. They've been on strike with us previously. Our picket lines are solid. The action that we have taken has had the same effects as it has on day one as it is having in the last week or so.
Are there any final points you'd like to just share with us in terms of your current negotiating position with Network Rail?
Well, we will continue to talk to Network Rail, and it will continue to be a challenge. You're going to hear from Tim Shoveler. I spoke to him yesterday afternoon. We were always talking to these companies to try and work up solutions to the problems that we've jointly got. And we'll continue to do that, but it remains a challenge. The demands that have been made on us are very difficult for us to accommodate, and ultimately we feel those demands and the inflation rate means that our members' work is being undervalued by vast amounts. But that is a deliberate policy of the government in this country at the time to lower wages of working people right across the spectrum, especially where they have an influence, to make them poorer than they used to be. And I think that's a direct result of government policy.
It's very hard to disagree with what Mick Lynch had to say there, isn't it? Especially after 14 years of Tory rule and gruel. Not for much longer now, hopefully. But his questioning to Mick Whelan was very weird, wasn't it? Very tinfoil hatty. But what do you guys think, my friends? Let me know down below, and I shall bid you farewell and take care.